everyone, and welcome back to Clara Sews Vintage. Today I'm going to be showing you all of the projects that I'm currently working on and the projects that I plan to work on in the near future. So it's starting to get crisper and cooler here in the Midwest where I live, and I am so excited that we are moving into fall. Fall is my favorite season. Yes, I love pumpkin spice everything. I'm that, stereotypical girl. I love fall. But I love sewing for fall too. Autumn colors like burgundy and rust and brown and olive green, that's definitely my favorite color palette to dress in and to work with. So I always get super excited to jump into fall sewing and wearing fall and autumnally colored garments. So I'm definitely feeling very inspired and very enthusiastic about sewing all of the fall projects that I have planned, and I thought that it would be fun to share some of my upcoming plans with all of you. So that is what we're going to be doing today. We are in my very, very messy sewing room today. Please excuse the mess. I really desperately need to reorganize, but I've been busy. When I can find the energy, I have been using it for sewing instead of organizing, which is kind of a catch-22. It's starting to be overwhelming and I need to clean it up, but when I have energy, I want to use it for sewing. So anyway, we're working in a very messy sewing room right now, but there it is. So let's jump on to my work table and I'll show you all the upcoming projects that I have planned. Alright, so one of the first projects that I am working on right now is I am almost done tracing out this pattern. I will be making the short sleeve version with the Peter Pan collar. I'll be using this really pretty floral cotton. This is just a quilting cotton from Moda Fabrics. I really love using Moda cottons to make blouses and dresses too, actually. I just think that they are really nice quality. They're not quite as lightweight as what would have traditionally been used and available like in the mid-century, so for 40s and 50s type styles, but I think they're really nice quality and they tend to be pretty soft. Not all quilting cottons are created equal. I would like to point that out though, because like the cottons that you can get at JoAnn Fabrics are definitely not as high of quality in my opinion, and they're not as soft. They tend to be a lot stiffer. So while I love using Moda cotton, I'm not a big fan of using cotton from JoAnn's. I've had experience using both, and I just don't find that they drape the JoAnn's cotton drape nearly as nicely. They have some really pretty prints, but I just don't tend to find myself being as happy with my finished result because the drape is not as nice. So anyway, all that being said, I have this lovely cotton that I have had in my stash. I don't believe that this line is available anymore, but I will put the pattern numbers and, when possible, the fabric information in the description box below, so I'll at least put what collection it's in, even if it's not available anymore. But so yeah, so this is one of the projects that I am currently working on. Like I said, I have the blouse the pattern almost all the way traced out here, and I will be ready to work on making a mock-up, which I will also have a video on the mock-up for this, and then I'll have a video making the blouse as well. I don't have the fabric here with me, but I also want to make a long sleeve, probably the squared off collar version out of a cream fabric for fall. But I don't have the fabric here in the sewing room with me at the moment. It was washed, so it is in the laundry, and I don't have it here with me just yet. But so I plan to be making kind of getting, double for my mock-up money, so to speak, making a short sleeve version and a long sleeve version of this blouse. I should also mention that these are really in no particular order. I'm not entirely sure what order I'm going to be making them in, so these are just the projects that I have upcoming. They won't necessarily be coming in the order that I mentioned them. So just, in case you were wondering. So another project that I'm really excited to work on is this little jumper dress from the 1950s. And I have had my eye on this pattern on eBay for probably a year, I think. And I have just really been wanting to make something similar to this, to either wear a sweater under or a blouse, and I think that it would just be really, really cute. I just think that the style is really fun, and yeah, I just really like it. But I have been kind of hemming and hawing over what fabric that I would want to use if I made something like this. I tend to generally work in separates. I like being able to mix and match the pieces in my wardrobe. I do have some dresses and stuff, but for something like this where it's definitely going to be like one outfit look with just minor tweaks with what I put under it, I wanted to pick the perfect fabric for it. So I finally found it. So I finally picked up this pattern. It was still available, and I'm really happy that it was, and that I finally made up my mind on it, because I think it's going to be really, really cute. And the fabric that I picked up for it is this gorgeous Italian stretch cotton corduroy from Moda Fabrics. I just picked this up, so if it's still available, I think they had limited quantities, I can't remember. So if it's still available, I will link it down below. The color is called Burnt Henna, and I think that that's actually a pretty good description of it. I think it's coming off pretty true on camera. It's just this like gorgeous combination of like, it's got some rusty tones, but it's a little bit more red than a rust, but it's got a little bit of brown to it, but it's not a true like burgundy or brown. It's almost like a mahogany color, and I really, really love it, and I think that this color is going to be very flattering with my skin tone. So yeah, I am really excited, and I think that it's going to be, the corduroy is going to be really fun for the jumper. I think that the texture is going to add a little bit of interest to something that's otherwise fairly simple. But yeah, so I'm really, really excited to get working on this. I think that this pattern will probably be the next pattern on my work table after I get done tracing the blouse pattern. I really only have room on my table and in my brain to trace one pattern at a time. So I think after I'm done tracing that pattern, this jumper pattern is going to be the next pattern to get traced, because I'm really excited to get this and get working on this. The only things I'm not excited about with this project are the fuzzies from cutting corduroy. Corduroy is like, you get fluffies. Like, it's not quite as bad as minky fabric, but it's kind of in the same family. So I'm not real excited about all the fuzzies. And I have a dog and a cat, and I knew I was kind of living on the edge a little bit when I bought corduroy, because corduroy tends to be a pet hair magnet, so that might not be fun. I'll need to keep a lint roller handy, but it was just too pretty to resist. So I love this, and I am really excited to get started on that. Alright, and then up next I have this pair of pants that I'm going to make. This is a genuine pattern from the, I would say, probably late 40s or very early 50s. I haven't been able to find a date on this pattern yet, but judging from the style, I would guess probably late 40s or early 50s. I really love this style of pants on myself. I find it very flattering for my body shape, And so I was really excited to find this pattern, and I was actually able to put my hands on another pattern, probably from a little bit earlier in the 40s. And I've had a really hard time up to this point getting my hands on genuine vintage pants patterns. So this just goes to show that if you're looking for something specific in vintage patterns, just keep looking on eBay and Etsy every few weeks, and eventually, usually you can get your hands on at least something similar to what you've been looking for. It just takes some time sometimes to find out, or to find what you're looking for. But usually if you're patient, you can find something. It's just not always immediately when you first decide to look. It does take some patience. So yeah, trick of the trade, I guess, for pattern collecting and sewing with vintage patterns. But this one even happened to be in my size, which was really exciting because I shouldn't have to resize it too much, which is fairly rare when you're using vintage patterns. So that's quite a treat. But I was really, really excited to finally be able to find some 1940s pants pattern, or 40s and early 50s styles. Like I said, because I've had a really hard time finding some in the past. And Stephanie Canada had a really good video kind of talking about this, but I had in the past had some Simplicity reprint pants patterns, and I really have come to not like using reprints that are put out by the big five or big four pattern companies, because they redesign them. They take the basic like style lines from a pattern, but then they make them to fit modern fit standards, and that kind of takes away the point of dressing and sewing vintage. To me, it makes your finished product end up kind of costumey looking and not genuine and well-fitting like things were in the 40s and 50s. So I really, like I said, Stephanie Canada has a video talking all about this, and she does a really good job articulating some of the differences, and she cites a blog post that goes into detail about that and everything. So I would highly check that out, or I would highly recommend checking out her video and that blog post, kind of talking about the differences between genuine vintage patterns. And there are companies, small companies, that reproduce vintage patterns, but they like legitimately reproduce them the way that they were intended to fit. So those get my endorsement, but I'm just not a big fan of using patterns anymore that are reprints by the original pattern company. They just, like the big four pattern companies. So they change them, and I am not a fan. That kind of defeats the purpose. So anyway, that rant over. I plan to be making this pattern that I'm super excited to work on, and I have this lovely wool suiting from Fabric Mart Fabrics that I will be using. That's covered in pet hair. Please ignore that. But I plan to be using, like I said, this lovely brown suiting wool for the pants. Wool has come to be one of my very favorite fabrics to use, especially like a nice suiting wool. I really love it for making pants and skirts, especially because I find it to be very comfortable when you have a high quality, finely woven wool. And I find it to be quite wrinkle resistant as well, which is quite nice when you're making pants and skirts. So that you don't sit down and then look like you slept in your clothes when you just sat down. So I hate it when fabric sprinkles so easily like that. But I also find it to be very breathable and very comfortable. Yeah, so I love wool. I love Fabric Mart Fabrics. Suiting wools, in particular, Mood Fabrics also tends to have a lot of really nice wool suitings, but Mood definitely tends to be more expensive. So if you watch Fabric Mart, you can get some really good deals on wool suiting as well. So that's one of my probably one of my most purchased fabrics, and I always watch them for good suiting deals to get nice suiting wool. So there is another project. Alright, and then the last project that I'm going to be talking about today is this lovely plaid flannel from the Plaiditudes Collection at JoAnn's. I have waxed poetic about this fabric in the past. I don't generally buy a ton of stuff from JoAnn's anymore. But one thing, their Plaiditudes Collection is my Achilles heel. I love their Plaiditudes Collection. It really just is a lovely line of fabric. I find it to be very high quality, especially for the price, considering that it's $10 a yard regular price, and it's almost always either on sale, or you can get a 40 or 50% off coupon for it. So I love the Plaiditudes Collection, and I believe that this one is new for this year. It's just such a lovely weight. It's a fairly thick flannel, and it almost feels like a wool flannel to me. It washes up beautifully. I really cannot say enough good things about the Plaiditudes flannels. Yeah, so it's my weakness, and I had to grab a few notions the other day at JoAnn, and I happened to mosey into the flannel section, and this one definitely called my name. As I think I have mentioned on here before, I am also a huge Cubs fan. I love watching baseball and listening to baseball, and this one with the blue and the red, it just kind of had a little bit of like a subtle Chicago Cubs feel to it, so that probably called to my name as well. But yeah, so I grabbed this, I picked up 2.5 yards, and I plan to make a half circle skirt. I intended last year to make a video on that, and life happened and I never got around to it, so this year, I'm going to do a half circle skirt video using this fabric, and I love having plaid half circle skirts in my fall and winter wardrobe. I just find them to be really cute, really cozy, and yeah, I love to wear them. So this is going to be my half circle skirt for this year. It seems like every year I end up picking up a plaid flannel to make a half circle skirt out of, and I guess this is going to be this year's version. But yeah, so I'm really excited to work on this. Yeah, so this one's probably going to get pushed off a little bit more just because I have other projects that are a little bit more autumnal in nature, and this one can be for fall or winter. So this one's probably going to get pushed to the back burner a little bit, but definitely plan to be working on this sooner than later. And then another video that you can all look forward to seeing is, I thought for sure that I had put up a video of me making my super simple pencil skirt. But I realized, I was looking back through my videos the other day, and I realized that I had not actually posted a video. I had thought that I did, and I apparently never got around to making it. So I am currently almost done with a pencil skirt, and I recorded the process for all of you, so I will be working on that video and getting that one up shortly. That will probably be the next video that you see after this one, so you can look forward to seeing that one. And then I also am currently working on, ironically enough, let's see, this pants pattern from Simplicity. Oh, the pattern pieces covering up the picture here. Let me fix that. But so I'm actually working on making this pants pattern out of some twill. I have made this pants pattern before, and it's not awful. It's actually the first pair of pants that I was actually able to make fit myself, which was a huge accomplishment because I had tried in the past, and pants and I don't get along very well. I have a really hard time getting pants to fit. Even finding store-bought pants that fit, it's a whole thing. pants and I don't get them laundry. But I was able to make this one fit. I'm just really excited to make a pair from a genuine vintage pattern and see the fit differences between the two. So I might do a video on that too, talking about the fit differences. They're different patterns, so there's going to be a little bit of difference in general, but I think I might, in general they're a very similar style. So I think I might do a video at some point kind of talking about the fit differences between this pattern and the genuine vintage pattern. But because I'm steering away from using like simplicity reprints and stuff, I did not make a video specifically on this, but you will see the finished result of these pants, probably styled with that floral blouse that I showed at the beginning, in an upcoming sewing vlog. So you'll get to see like the end result of this. I'm just not going to go step by step in making them. But yeah, so those are all my projects. So those are all my upcoming projects. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I will be working on, all of the projects that I have planned. I would love to hear about your upcoming projects in the comments below. What projects are you really excited to be working on? Do you have any projects like my vintage pants pattern that you've been wanting to make for a long time and you're finally getting around to, or you're finally able to make? I would love to hear about all your upcoming projects in the comments below. I love hearing what other people are working on. I find it really inspiring, and yeah, I enjoy kind of building community that way. I loved hearing about all of your projects that you told me about in the comments of the last video. That was really fun. And feel free to DM me on Instagram as well. I will have my Instagram information in the description. I love to see pictures, or tag me in your post using Clara Sews Vintage. I love to see what other people are working on. But yeah, so let me know, like I said, what you're working on in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And if you are not already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so you're notified all the videos that I post in the future, so you can stick around and know when I post new videos. And I'd love to have you in this community. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!